Welcome to KHP 241 Basketball Coaching Fundamentals. This is week 4. We've had a great 3 weeks talking about our priorities and philosophies and the history of the game. And then last week, strength and conditioning. I know there was a couple of questions. Maybe I didn't word correctly, so I will take that off for you all and give you all those credit. I believe the one with the 30 to 40 minutes or 20 minutes before stretching starts. I didn't maybe word that correctly. My apologies for that, and I will take care of that matter. But getting into this week, I'm just going to touch with just basic offensive skills and just basic offense, and then next week we'll get into ball screens and a little bit more than just the basic fundamentals of offense. And basically, the way I look at offense is I try to get 2 defenders to guard one of my players by using ball screens, by using penetration, moving the ball around from left to right, and not being still with it. But that's what I try to get. That's what I try to do. I try to get 2 players to guard one of mine, and then we pass out of it and take a great shot. That's just basically my philosophy when it comes to offense, and it's worked for me so far, and I'll keep teaching that way. Just basic fundamentals right there, and in offense. We're gonna get to. I want to talk about transition offense and set offenses. There's a difference between transition offense and set offense. This is very important for you to know because it'll probably be on the quiz. Transition offense is when you're on defense and say the offense shoots the ball and you go straight to offense. That's transition offense, and then obviously transition defense is if you're on offense and you go right on defense. That's my big philosophy and what we try to do. We play a fast tempo and up tempo type game, and I want to get that ball. And some people call it fast break. I call it transition offense. But get that transition offense, have a set structure of what you want to do as a coach, and implement that into your basketball practices each and every day as far as transition offense. But basically, when they shoot the ball and we get that rebound, we're hitting our point guard, and we're taking off and doing something structured that we've practiced on. But that's basically what we try to do. And then sets is basically say the defense has got back and they're playing man-to-man on you, and they've squared up on you, they D'd up on you. So we might go to a set play that we've ran in practice. But I'd rather not do that as far as a coach. I'd rather just be a transition offensive team. And obviously there's going to be some times where you have to go to set plays, such as like out of a timeout, out of dead ball situations, out of a technical maybe. But so then you'll have to do a set play instead of do transition offenses. But there's a time. Every coach has their philosophy. If you want to play a fast tempo and keep the defense on their heels at all times, play a transition offense. Okay, but if you don't have maybe as athletic guards, or say you have slow guards and don't have athletic guards, then you might want to just do a half court offensive set and kind of go from there. Next I want to get into the 1 through 5 right here. Obviously, your 1 is your point guard. We're going to be doing, hopefully in the future, maybe, haven't decided yet. We might try to might have you all set me up some plays and things like of that nature. But obviously, the 1 right there is the point guard. And the point guard should be your best ball handler and probably best passer on the team. And mostly an overall a good leader, because he's the one that controls the offense, controls the tempo, gets people where they need to be on offense. The point guard plays a huge role in anybody's system. He's got to be pretty special, especially at the college level. If you have a really good point guard, most of the time you're gonna have a pretty good little team. But that's if you go to college and you start recruiting, point guards are the number 1 thing to hit. Obviously, it's hard to find big men and things like that, but the point guard kind of runs the show, so to speak. So he's very vital to having success at your team. Probably, and he's probably the quickest. He's probably the quickest since he's a little bit shorter than the rest. He should be your best ball handler. Your two-man or your shooting guard, as we call it now, should probably be your best, obviously, scorer for the team. That's probably his role. He probably has a lot of set plays ran to him because he is such a scoring threat. But it's all obviously even more of a bonus if he can play some defense as well. And then you got your three-man right here, obviously known as the small forward. He's probably your most versatile player on the team. He should be able to handle the ball pretty well. Pretty usually long and lengthy. Usually they have a wingspan of around, I don't know, 6'9" to 7 foot, somewhere there, but real lengthy and a slasher player. Likes to slash in the lane, take it off the bounce a little bit, score in some traffic. That type of thing is what's and he's he got a little finesse to him. Your four-man or your power forward right there. Usually they usually typically can play on the block and usually have a nice mid-range game around 12 to 18 feet, and usually play their back to the basket and help the center out if you want to go a 3-out and 2-in type of set. So they can play the post, or they can step out a little bit to the outside, and even nowadays, especially in the international type, they're making themselves stretch forwards, which means that they can really stretch that defense out because they can shoot the three so consistently well. And a lot of them four men right there are the dirty work. They do a lot of the dirty work. They're a little nasty, so to speak, and have a lot of bulk to them. But usually a powerful force inside and in the mid-range game. And obviously, last but not least, is your center, your big man, your main dominant post. And a lot of teams like to rim run with their five right there. Let him rim run right to that rim and seal in that paint, so to speak. And usually he's your tallest player. He usually sets a lot of screens for your guards, and then rolls or pick and pops. Mostly we want them to roll. He's usually should be your strongest player in the post, and should give you a dominant feel in the post. And he does a lot of things more on defense than he does offense. Of course, protecting the rim, things of that nature, which we'll get in 2 weeks later when we have defense. But that's your five right there. When we start drawing up plays right there, if there's a 1, obviously that's your point guard, 2 shooting guard, 3 again small forward, 4 power forward, and 5 centers. These are vital when you become a basketball coach, and setting up and drawing up plays maybe at a timeout situation or a dead ball situation, or end of the clock play, or even end of the game play. So these are definitely key things you need to know. I wanted to go back and hit why transition offense is so important and what advantages you might have in doing a transition offense. Usually when you have a transition offense, again, that's when the offense, when you're on defense and the offense shoots and you get the rebound and you outlet and you go. And like I said, you usually want to have a structured type transition offensive flow, but it creates easy scores. When you get that ball up, it keeps the defense on their heels. Most of the time, a coach tells somebody, "Hey, you got number 32, or you got number 2, or you got number 23." And when they shoot the ball and they try to look for their man's already down the court, and maybe take a wide open shot or dump it inside to the 5-man who's hopefully rim running right there. It creates easy scores and easy opportunities and easy great shots for us. That's why I like transition offense so well. And another reason is it puts pressure on the opponents, puts pressure on that defense, because they know if they don't get back in time, their coach is probably going to take them out, and they'll be sitting on the bench right next to them if they don't find their man quickly. It creates an aggressive attitude. I believe the transition offense creates an aggressive attitude. If you want to play an up-tempo style game, it just you're being aggressive always at all times, and that can carry over to your defense. I believe that can carry over to your defense and your rebounding, being aggressive at all times, and that means you're aggressive offensively and defensively. And that's something we take pride in here at WKCTC is really trying to be aggressive in what we're trying to accomplish here. Another great advantage to it is mostly the conditioned team will usually win. And if you play a fast, up-tempo, paced game, you're going to have to be well conditioned to play, and most teams aren't. Most teams aren't well conditioned, so we try to wear them out. Maybe it might be a close game for the first 30 minutes, maybe in the last 10 minutes, if we're well conditioned, we might run away with it. Press defense. When we score, it allows us to get in our press defense quickly, and then I'm going to go back to where we get those easy scores, easy looks, easy buckets, and that sets up our press defense easily that we can get into. It's exciting. It's exciting to play, man. It's exciting to watch as fans. It usually brings a lot of people, in. They see how hard these kids are working back and forth on offense and defense, and it's just a fun up-tempo style. Everybody likes to see people score and see people play hard and play the right way and play a smart way. So it also brings fans in. It's a fan bringing up type of game, up tempo game. You play a lot of people on the bench. Well, where you got to play that up tempo style, you usually got to have a rotation, a deep bench of 9 to 10, maybe 11 kids, and that keeps people happy. That keeps your kids excited, keeps them happy. They know they're gonna get in. And things of that nature. So that's also a good, great point of why transition offense is so important. And then last but not least, it's just great against maybe a zone defense because it don't allow them to set up. Again, that's just anything. If they're on if they're on defense, man to man, if they're on defense zone, and you're pushing that ball at them as hard as you can, and you have a structured offense of moving that ball, whipping it around left to right, and having some ball screens set where your guards can go downhill against the basket, that's just hard to defend. So those are about 8 great reasons of why transition offense is so important. And another thing on offense, you have to value the ball. That is so important. Valuing the ball and what that means is no turnovers. Or I have a goal each game where I'd like to only do 8 to 9 turnovers. We chart our turnovers in practice all the time, and we even chart our wins when we do certain drills in practice and things of that nature. But to keep up with who's turning the ball over, who's winning the most in your drills and certain ones, and then give each one of them a 1 out of 10 daily effort chart. And then film practices, because you can show them, hey, coach, why am I not playing? It's because on such and such date, look at your attitude, look at your body language right here. And film never lies. So when you put stuff on film, and kids know that they're going to be on film, they know film never lies. You know film never lies, and you can go right to it and say why this is important, why maybe you're not getting to play. Next thing I want to get into as a basic offensive type thing is your triple threat right here, and that means when you get the ball, there's 3 things, and we're about to go over them. 3 basic skills that are vital to this game of basketball: shooting, passing, and dribbling. And when you're in triple threat, you're catching that ball low. You got your eyes up, seeing the floor. Got to see the floor at all times. Body over, your weights distributed evenly throughout the whole body. You don't have one weight on the other, or one side on the other. It's your feet are shoulder width apart. And then you like I said, you could shoot, you can pass, or you can dribble. That is the main thing. Triple threat is so important. I'm going to show a video on here that you all need to look at here in a little bit. But we're getting into shooting. There's an acronym that I always use. It's called BEEF. It's balance, eyes, elbow, and your follow through. And basically on your shot, when you catch that thing on the pass, You should be squared up to the basket, shoulders to the basket, feet shoulder width apart, weight distributed evenly throughout the whole body, eyes up, seeing the floor, our eyes on the basket. You should be able to see the whole floor. But when you're shooting the ball, they should have that. We call this the 5-finger pad. Okay, 5-finger pad, and there should be an evenly spaced right throughout there. I don't know if you all can see that or not. And you all should be able to just fall, and then when your elbow should be in an L-shaped form right here, an L-shaped form, and you want that ball to sit right on those finger pads. And when that ball goes through when the fingertips go through that ball, there should be a backward spin rotation on the ball, and a great arch. I'll see a lot of players, and this is very important. I see a lot of players shoot from right here, which they're not getting that arch. They need to extend that follow through right there in a straight line. And usually, I like to tell my players the last 2 fingers that ball hits when it's coming up are these last 2 right here, your index and your middle, mainly your middle finger. So they should be flipping down. That middle finger and that index finger should be flipping down. Your arm should be extended forward towards the rim right there. So that's the basic shooting type that we always do. And I'm gonna show a video where you want to especially start out with younger guys, and even I do it with my college guys. Go one hand behind the back, and flipping that in, getting just memory muscle memory, rotation with the shot right there, and obviously squaring up to the basket. You want to be stepping in. You want to catch it low. The only time you should come up is when you shoot the ball on offense. Should be the only time that you come up. And of course, your 5-finger pad that I went over, and your follow through, and you have to use your legs. Leg strength is so important on your 3-point shots or anything that you do, your free throws. If you don't have that leg strength, you're going to be short, especially if you're playing a lot of minutes in the game, especially with the transition offense, things like that. You have to make sure you use your legs on each shot you take. Next thing is passing. Obviously, the fundamentals of passing is when you step. Obviously, you want to step forward to the guy, but your fingers should be flipping downwards. When you're stepping to your person on the team that you're going to, you should be stepping forward with your dominant foot, and your hands should be going downward. Okay, should be going down. Whether it's a bounce pass, a chest pass, an over the head pass, and it's kind of like a follow through like you do on a shot. So anytime you pass, you should also be following through with your thumbs downward. Obviously, the chest pass is probably the most important one in the game of basketball. It moves the ball up the floor faster than anything that you could do. That is the most important one, the chest pass. It moves the ball up the court quickly. And you use it definitely in your transition offenses, transition sets. And you want to aim right below or above your waist, but below your shoulders. That's the target aim. And obviously, great crisp passes lead to great shots usually. Usually a shooter likes to have it in their pocket right here. They don't want to be bending down over here left or right or catching it up here. They want you to hit them right there in the chest so that they have their feet together so they don't have to bend down. It's just a fluid shot and at least to higher percentages. Great passes lead to higher percentage shots and higher percentages and during the game. So make sure that passing is the most under drilled thing that the coaches forget to do. So drill passing, we always do passing, some type of passing drill in the first 5 minutes of practice. And sometimes we use this heavy trainer ball that I have here, and it's about 2 to 3 pounds more heavier than a real natural ball that you have here. But it works on throwing that thing as hard as you can to your teammate, and it just develops that muscle memory fundamentally, because you have to snap down to snap these passes with the heavy training ball right there. So if you can afford those for your all's team, get those, implement that into your program, into like the first 5 to 10 minutes of practice, and you'll see an overall improvement in your passing game as a team. We do full court, full speed drills with these heavy training balls, and we tell our team to go game speed it's one of the best things that one of the things I repeat mostly each day. Go game speed. Um, but the chest passing is very important in the game of basketball. Then we're going to go right here to bounce pass, about your bounce passing, and obviously you want to bounce that thing probably about 2/3 of the way to the person, so it hits them right into the chest right there. Bounce passes, you'll use that sometimes on a fast break, unless you have somebody you want to lob it up to and they can go get it and dunk it. But most time in a fast break situation, say on a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2, you get that ball in the middle, and then you can pass left or right. And that usually wants to be a bounce pass right there. And also always use a bounce pass feeding the post, feeding your 5-man, feeding your centers from your guards or from your forwards. That's just harder. It's harder to catch. For the defense to get around and catch if it's on the bounce, and it's easier to get it if it's in the air. Also, if you all are on press offense and you're getting pressed, always tell our inbounds guy to bounce pass it. Always tell your inbounds guy to bounce pass it and lead them on the bounce. Okay, don't let it lead them behind them, because that means the defense can get that. But if you lead them on the bounce right there, it's almost impossible for the defense to get a fingertip on it or anything like that. So always remember that. Then you have your over-the-head passes, and usually you want to use those. Our 3, 4, 5 men, our rebounders usually use those a lot. When they get the ball right here, they're going to chin it on the rebound, and then they're going to outlet over the head to maybe a 1 or 2, so we can get our transition offense going right there. So use an overhead pass when you get the rebound and hit that point guard or that 2 guard and take off with it. Last but not least, the baseball pass right here. You really don't want to use that in a whole lot. I can only remember a few times when we may have used it in a game, and it was during the last, say we were down by 1 or 2, and there was only 2 to 3 seconds on the clock left. We had to use a baseball pass to get it over a guy because he was jumping jacks on the ball, that kind of deal. But you really don't want to perfect that pass a lot, but you need to have one guy just important. And we have a drill that we use just about once or twice a week, that we do that baseball pass with it, just in case I know who to put in if we are down by 2 to 3 or 1 or 2 or 3 points, and we need a successful guy to complete that baseball pass on a play right there. The last skill I want to hit, besides our shooting and passing, is ball handling and dribbling. And obviously your 1s and 2s and possibly 3s can definitely need to be great at this. But also your 4s and 5s, especially if you're playing a transition offense or they're going to have to dribble the ball and do some handoffs, they need to be working on these ball handling drills as well. I want you to always remember this. The way to advance the ball up the floor is not ball handling and dribbling. The quickest way is not ball handling and dribbling. It's always on that pass. So when I'm telling you to do these transition offense, don't make a point of dribbling the ball to death. Okay, and we have one right here, number 4 right here, dribble with a purpose. But let's go in order right here. When you're teaching somebody or teaching your team, especially your 1s and 2s and 3s, make sure always keep their head up. And I always we do some stationary drills, we do some motion drills, but I'll be standing in front of them and I'll be yelling, I'll be putting up 1s or 5s, and they have to tell me what number I'm putting up to make sure their head's fully up and on the court. Because if their head's down and dribbling down, they can't see who's open. A 5-man might be rim running, and if they have their head down, obviously they're not going to be able to advance that ball up the court on that pass right there. So always teach your kids to dribble. And to dribble with their head forward, seeing the floor at all times. And most of the time, if you're most of the time on a fast break, get that ball in the middle. Get that ball in the middle. Don't keep it on the side. Because when you keep it on the side, you can't see the other 66% of the floor right there. So get that ball in the middle, and then keep that head up right there. When you're dribbling, teach your kids never to stand up. I always tell mine, when dribbling, keep the ball below your knees. I'm going to say that again. Keep the ball below your knees, and when you dribble, I always tell them, imagine themselves putting a dent in the floor. That's how hard I want them to pound that dribble at all times. That means they just have more control over it. Their knees need to be bent. Their tail needs to be down, and they just have more control over it. If they're standing up and it's all the way above their head and things like that, that they're just not going to have control over it. Plus, whoever's playing defense can probably obviously steal that ball from them if they do have quick hands and whatnot. So always, those are probably two most important things on this list when it comes to ball handling right there. Train that muscle memory to keep their head up at all times, no matter what move they're doing, or between the legs, inside out, behind the back. Keep that head up at all times. And then when dribbling, never, ever, ever stand up. Never, ever stand up vertically. Make sure they're always sitting down and keeping that ball below their knees. The third thing right there, protect the ball with the offhand right there. I always call it, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of this, but if you don't have your hand out, say you're dribbling the ball right here and you don't have your arm bar. I always call it an arm bar protecting that ball. I usually call it public property. That means anybody can come in and steal that ball. But if you have that arm bar out there while you're dribbling right there, I call it private property, because there ain't nobody gonna be able to get that ball right there and take that ball away from you. That's your ball, so to speak. So definitely teach protecting the ball when you're doing your stationary drills, even when you're on your move drills, when they're making a move after they make it behind the back. Make sure that arm bar is up right away, protecting that ball at all times. Fourth thing right there, dribble with a purpose. You know where you're going. Well, obviously you should know where you're going. Get there in a straight line. You just don't want to be dribbling, I call it east or west or left and right, just going nowhere. You want to dribble in a straight line at that basket. Okay, dribble in a straight line with the purpose of what you're trying to do, whether it's trying to get two people to guard you, then passing out of it. But you have to dribble with the purpose at all point in time. Then the last thing right there, and especially kids at a young age, if you're coaching kids, around the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth grades, be ambidextrous. If they're right-handed, work on their left-handed twice as much. Okay. Oftentimes I go to middle school games and see maybe a 6th or 7th grader, maybe even an 8th grader that can only dribble with their right hand if they're only right-handed, and it limits so much to what they can do on the court. So obviously, always, especially if you're teaching young children, to be ambidextrous, to dribble with their left and right hand, and the more they dribble with that offhand that they're not used to, the more confidence they get in their own abilities and things like that. Then when it comes to teaching layups and things of that nature, they've used that left hand, that offhand so much, dribbling the ball, that they'll have confidence to shoot layups with their non-dominant hand. So those 5 things right there, when it comes to ball handling, are so vital and so important when teaching this at any age. At any age, dribbling allows you to penetration is key to breaking down the defense and passing out of it, and dribbling will get you there. And I always say when you dribble now, and this kind of goes with the purpose, get that ball out in front of you. Don't keep it on your side. Don't keep it on your hip, because if you beat somebody off the dribble and you keep it on your hip, they can back tip you, and that ball goes. So keep that ball out, throw it out front, keep that ball below your knees, and dribble with a sense of urgency. Okay, those are, again, I'm going to go over them again. Number 1, keep your head up. 2, when dribbling, never ever stand up. Never stand up. Stay low at all times. 3, protect that ball with the offhand. Okay, private and public property right there. 4, dribble with a purpose. And then 5, be ambidextrous. Dribble as good as your left. If you're right-handed, you ought to be just dribbling as good as your left hand as you are your right. So that sums up our 3 basic offensive fundamental skills. Obviously, there's a ton more, but I just wanted to hit those 3 main things right there. A main thing about when you're dribbling is don't pick up your dribble unless you do for sure have a shot or pass right there. I know you dribble with the purpose, but always know, don't ever pick that thing up and they could get a 5-second call on you, or you can make a bad pass because the defense is soaking up. So when you pick up that dribble, You ought to be able to shoot. Shooting that ball, you should be passing that ball right there, guys. Always remember that. Now that we have went over our three basic skills, uh, shooting, passing, and dribbling, I'm just about to get off here, and I want to remind you guys that at the end of the 8 weeks here, there will be a project that you will have to do. You will actually have to teach someone, do a video and teach someone maybe how to shoot a shot correctly, or a free throw correctly, or a layup correctly, or teaching somebody to do a defensive stance correctly, and things like that. So be thinking about what you want to do as far as that, and be ready to. I'll probably ask that in week 7. I'll give y'all 2 weeks to do that. So have that ready to go for me, and things of that nature. Again, just to review a little bit on our offense right there. When especially when you're first teaching it, make everything detailed, make everything fundamental. If they're catching a ball, if they're throwing a pass, make sure everything is with 2 hands. You just have more control, more stability over that, over everything. So make sure, especially the very first day, you tell them your philosophy, your priorities, and what you want out of your offense, what you have to have, and you drill that every single day. I hope you all took some notes and things like that. We'll have probably about a 15 to 20 question quiz. Also, there will be another discussion board for you guys to complete, and things of that nature. Next week, like I said, we'll go into a more advanced offensive things, such as ball screening and penetration. Maybe show you all some of our drills that we do here at West Kentucky, and things like that. Maybe y'all can take away some of that. And if you all wanted to, email me this week and ask some questions about maybe what you would like to see for next week as far as offense. If you wanted me to draw up some offenses and things of that nature, feel free to do that. Feel free to put it on the discussion board if you wanted to make your own discussion board and pick everybody's brain and everything like that. So guys, just have a great week. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and see you guys next week.